The only requirement for participation in this conversation is the willingness to be nothing. And you might be expected to ask, what could that possibly mean? I regret to say that I cannot tell you what being nothing means. The meaning of being, although Martin Heidegger spent a lifetime trying to define it, has never been determined. And nothing is unspeakable, being unthinkable. You might think that since nothing is unspeakable, there would not be a definition for it either, but you would be mistaken. Robert Lawrence Kuhn, in developing his Closer to Truth series, has come across 9 different definitions for nothing. Nothing number 6 likely comes closest to describing the nothing which is, paradoxically, both the object as well as the subject of our discussion. Number 6. Nothing where there is no space, time, and no mass energy, but also no pre-existing laws of physics that could generate space, time, or mass energy, universes. This journey to our own nothing is not merely a philosophical or scientific investigation. We are engaged in a quest to come into a direct experience of this nothing, not just conceptually, but also emotionally, and most importantly, kinetically. We need to act, to move, to change our position relative to the cosmos. In taking our first steps in this direction, we will need to discover what most ordinary people know of nothing. One of the age-old quests in Western humanity's search for an understanding of our world has been to find a rational explanation for its origins. Is our cosmos infinite, without beginning or end? Or is it finite, as was said to be by Judeo-Christian teaching, being formed by God out of nothing with a beginning and therefore out of logical necessity, also having an end? This question seems to have finally been answered, at least to the satisfaction of ordinary folk, in the late 1960s, when the picture which appears on the cover of this book was first published. This picture is a radio telescope image of our world when it was only 380,000 years old. It shows our cosmos as a bluish-green oval standing out against a black background. The oval is a picture of everything. The black background is a picture of nothing. A view of everything, nothing. Science is not pleased to have discovered this fact. Scientists wish to know nothing about this nothing. Again, I quote Heidegger, who presciently saw this coming clash between science and the nothing 37 years before it occurred. In a lecture he gave in 1929, What is Metaphysics?, he perfectly captured the scientific mind and its aversion to thinking and talking about nothing. Against it, nothing, science must now reassert its seriousness and soberness of mind. The nothing, what else can it be for science but an outrage and a phantasm? If science is right, then only one thing is sure. Science wishes to know nothing of the nothing. Ultimately, this is a scientifically rigorous conception of the nothing. We know it, the nothing, in that we wish to know nothing about it. Heidegger was looking for the meaning of being. In his search, he had gone back to the first philosophers and discovered that the question of being and not being was just as puzzling for them then as it is for us today. The Greeks, who taught us to think, never did solve this riddle of the something and the nothing. To this day, we are heirs to their perplexity over what it means to be, to exist. One of the most important of the pre-Socratic thinkers was convinced that there was only something and definitely not nothing. Parmenides, who is considered to be the founder of Western philosophy, left us with a poem of which only fragments survive. In this poem he describes a journey he took by chariot, accompanied by the goddess Justice, down to the underworld, where he is welcomed by another goddess who instructs him to write down what she is about to say, including this: "There is no way you can recognize what is not. There is no traveling that path, or tell anything about it. What exists for saying and for thinking must be, for it exists for it to be, but nothing does not exist. You ponder that."
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.